Notice here how Koundé pulls the players away, giving Lamine Yamal the opportunity to enter the penalty area. But observe this moment. Lamine Yamal himself drags the players, creating space for Koundé. This is one of the secrets behind the tactical interplay between Lamine Yamal and Koundé. However, there is a single obstacle facing this duo, and the answer comes down to two main reasons. Watch the video to discover the full explanation. Welcome, my friends, to BePart Sports. From the moment Lamine Yamal stepped into the Barcelona environment, his teammates gave him a clear instruction to drive vertically, just as Lionel Messi used to do in the past. For this reason, most of his early dribbles carried a distinctly vertical pattern, cutting in from the same flank towards the penalty area to deliver crosses. Over time, this gradually evolved, with the team relying more heavily on Lamine Yamal as a key option. And from there, we began to notice clear changes in his style of play. Let us ask the fundamental question, what exactly has changed? Lamine Yamal is no longer limited to vertical dribbles along the flank. He has added lateral movements and horizontal shifts. And here arises the question, why this change? The answer lies in two main reasons. The first reason stems from the influence of his teammates. Since his emergence with Barcelona, he has played alongside a traditional striker such as Robert Lewandowski, while on the left wing there was a winger who would move inside to become a secondary striker, namely Rafinha. This structure forced Lamine Yamal to remain wider on the flank because the space in the right half space was already occupied by a midfielder, specifically Fermín López or Dani Olmo. As a result, Yamal could not find the opportunity to cut inside in that area and was obliged to stay out wide. However, the diagonal dribbles of the past did not bring the desired outcomes. Penetrating into the penalty area proved extremely difficult due to heavy defensive congestion and the rush of players closing down the ball. For this reason, Yamal had to adopt more of a playmaker's role, delivering precise crosses, at times to the far post for Rafinha, at other times to the near post for Lewandowski, and occasionally to the edge of the box when Pedri was positioned there. In most instances, we see him dribbling inwards from the wing before delivering strategic crosses into the area. The first important factor lies in the presence of players capable of shouldering the primary responsibility, finishing attacks in front of goal, namely scoring after receiving the ball. For this reason, Lamine Yamal's main task shifts towards creating chances for these players, and this role must be recognized and taken into account when evaluating his performance. But is this sufficient for Hansi Flick? Of course not. The coach can make greater use of Lamine Yamal's abilities. Last season, his roles began to change, particularly in the second half of the campaign. At that time, I noted that Lamine Yamal's responsibilities this season would undergo a shift, as he would begin moving more frequently into central areas to become capable of shooting from outside the penalty area. The reason is clear. Rafinha will be positioned at the far post, Lewandowski at the near post, and Pedri will return to his usual duties in midfield. As a result, Lamine Yamal has developed his ability to drift into the inner channel, moving from the right wing into the right half space. This adjustment provides him with opportunities to shoot from that zone, or even to dribble further and progress into central areas. And for those wishing to understand the roles of Pedri and De Jong, they should refer back to the previous episode. In other words, Lamine Yamal has acquired the ability to find sufficient space to cut inside from the flank into central positions, unleashing shots from outside the penalty area. These new movements demonstrate his direct intent towards goal, highlighting his progress in mastering spatial control and maximizing the effectiveness of his teammates. Does this mean that Lamine Yamal will stop creating chances? Certainly not. He has proven on many occasions that he places the team before anything else. When he reaches that area, he delivers lofted balls into the penalty box towards Rafinha, or combines with the number 10 to carve a path for himself through the middle before shooting. As a result, his role within the system has become clearer, and he has recognized the importance of his movements into central areas rather than remaining solely on the wing. The second factor, what also influenced him, was Lewandowski's advancing age, which led Hansi Flick to nominate Ferran Torres to play as a false nine. Having a player such as Torres in this role, alongside teammates like Dani Olmo or Fermín López, encouraged Lamine Yamal to move further inside. Why? Because Torres does not always remain inside the box. At times, he drags defenders with him and drops deeper, creating greater opportunities for Yamal to enter the penalty area or cut into central zones. The central areas became less congested compared to when Lewandowski was positioned there permanently. The fewer the players inside the box, the greater the importance of Lamine Yamal's movements in these spaces. The one player who consistently stays inside the penalty area is Rafinha, and thus, whenever Ferran Torres is involved, we observe constant rotations. At times, intelligently, Torres drifts towards the right-hand side to open up space for Lamine Yamal to occupy. And if the defender follows Torres, in that case, the vacant space is left open for Yamal, a pattern frequently repeated throughout last season. The same applies to the number 10, who occasionally drifts inside after Torres returns to his position, shifting wide to allow Lamine Yamal the room to break through centrally. In this way, Lamine Yamal became more involved in the complex patterns devised by Hansi Flick, and he began to grasp his roles and the importance of his diagonal dribbles, whether unleashing shots from outside the penalty area or delivering crosses to Rafinha. My friend, the second and most important factor, and perhaps the most prominent after the influence of the players around him, is Barcelona's need for a player like Lamine Yamal. Why? Because when Rafinha operates centrally, his impact on the wing disappears entirely. The dribbles stop, his threat in front of goal diminishes, and his effectiveness declines. As for Lewandowski, his one-on-one dribbling ability is not at the required level. In addition, there are two other players who occupy the number 10 role, Dani Olmo or Fermin Lopez. With players of different profiles on the pitch, the need for a genuine attacking threat capable of breaking through dense, deep defensive lines became evident. Why? Because the left side lacks the ability to destabilize defenses due to the absence of a natural left winger, which places greater reliance on the right flank. However, if Lamine Yamal's style were limited to vertical dribbles and merely delivering crosses, his threat would be reduced and his movements would become easier for opponents to anticipate. Therefore, it became necessary to develop his style, moving with greater intelligence and flexibility to exploit spaces and create genuine chances in front of goal. So, what exactly is the issue? The style has shifted, and the focus has moved more towards collective play rather than diagonal dribbles, even when faced with one or three defenders around him. This disrupts the opponent's defensive balance and gives Barcelona the advantage in midfield or on the left flank, as two or three players are matched against a single defender, with Lamine Yamal at the center of it all. Barcelona's strength now lies in Lamine Yamal's ability to use dribbling to open space for his teammates, before making the decision, should he shoot at goal or pass. A clear example of this was his goal scored after dribbling past defenders, entering the penalty area, and finishing towards the far post. The same applies to the presence of Koundé. When Koundé plays and positions himself on the right flank, we notice that Lamine Yamal occupies deeper areas, while De Jong drops back, allowing Barcelona's tactical shape to become clearer. Have you noticed how Lamine Yamal is able to return to these zones to act as the team's main orchestrator? On the other hand, when the player is on the left side, Pedri takes on this role. But why is Koundé needed here? His presence enables the use of overlaps, as the full-back operates alongside him and eases the pressure on Lamine Yamal. It forces the opposition to commit an additional defender, which reduces cover in other areas or leaves only one or two defenders to face Lamine Yamal. This is where his exceptional dribbling skills are displayed, setting him apart from other players. For this reason, the team requires a defensive full-back with an attacking mindset. One who advances frequently, plays wide on the line, and possesses technical ability on the ball. Why? Because such a player knows how to support Lamine when under pressure and when to return the ball to him at the right moment. But my friend, with Robert Lewandowski on the pitch, Lamine's role within the team will be reduced and his influence will weaken. However, if Torres features more regularly, or even Marcus Rashford, should the coaching staff decide to field him, this would bring about a significant change in Lamine's responsibilities. So, what exactly will happen? You will notice that Lamine will thrive more and score more goals at the same time. And I assure you, keep an eye on his performances until the end of the season, as I am confident that Lamine Yamal will finish the campaign with a higher number of goals and assists than he achieved last season. And when I speak of assists, I mean the creation of clear goal-scoring opportunities, whether his teammates take advantage of them or not. The reason is that Lamine's attacking roles will evolve considerably as time goes on. This is my personal opinion. Now it is your turn to write your thoughts in the comments so that we can share and discuss different perspectives together. Thank you for watching the video, and we will see you next time.